Welcome to episode 3 of
Metal's Horror House.
MineCraft, a lovely, peaceful game, a world where you can just let loose and use your imagination to create pretty much whatever you want with square blocks. It is massive on YouTube because it's a pretty enjoyable game, and inside Minecraft, what do they have? Monsters, creatures, and one very specific monster that we are going to be making today, Minecraft's Creeper, but with a bit of a stylized, realistic twist to it. So we started off with the elongated square. Some would call that a rectangle. But what we do here is we pretty much just kind of round off the edges, make it more circular, where we start to add in features, human features. Now I wanted this to be almost like a very skeletal looking creeper. A lot of detail, big forehead, a big head. Let's just say that it has a pretty big head because, well, I mean, there's not a lot of detail in creepers because they're mostly square in the game. So it kind of gives you a lot of freedom to play with shapes and ideas. But I know I wanted this to be a little bit more realistic and a little bit more terrifying. And right now it's starting to look a little bit like a private section of something. We tilt back the head because I want this mouth to be wide open. And he is going to have very, very big gums and teeth and a little bit of a rib cage here. And we just start playing with the shapes and trying to round everything off. Gonna be adding a nice little spine here. If you notice in a lot of my art, I really love when spines kind of protrude out the back. We add in the gums and then we're gonna duplicate the top gums to make the bottom gums. And then we sculpted a tooth separately and we just kind of duplicate this all around the mouth to make these sharp rows of teeth, which turn out to be very disturbing. Mirror it to one side and then we kind of just do the same to the bottom. Now we got this big old delicious succulent terrifying sharp teeth. I wanted the mouth to be a little bit more fleshy, so we start adding in these details to the mouth, like the lips are kind of separating a little bit. Do a little bit of detail on the gums, them look a little bit more fleshy, a little bit more gross. I mean, you gotta have that grossy kind of look to this creature, I think. I was thinking about, should we add in giant eyes to this creature? You know, popping out. I was gonna go for maybe it's in the middle of exploding, but decided to shrink the eyes down because it looked a little bit too cartoony. I'm all for cartoony, but I think I wanted this to be a little bit more real. So, of course, we shrink them down. Now you can see those eyes are pretty small, but don't worry, we're gonna make the eyelids pretty quick here. Make the nose there. Now his nose is missing. Don't worry, it's somewhere in the caves, I'm sure. Then we start to make the eyes here. You gotta have some eyelids. It's not gonna be perfect, but we will come back to this to make it look a little bit more terrifying. Added in the ribs here a little bit. You know, they're kind of protruding through in the stomach. I really wanted these ribs to show. Maybe this creeper is a little bit zombified in a way, and his stomach's just split open, his ribs are showing, and then his guts and stuff are just kind of hanging out. Now he doesn't have a TNT heart because I do end up making something different for it because, you know, this is all stylized, just kind of playing with ideas here. We work our way down to kind of make him a little bit more chunky on the bottom, right? And start to work on this leg here, which I am not a fan of, and I end up going with something different here because the leg just did not look good at all. So do not pay attention to this at all. You know what? We're just going to cut this part up because this leg, I hated it so much. We make a spine that's going to be, you know, sticking out of the back here separately, and then we're just going to bring it in and duplicate it and make that spinal column all the way down. Now the spines are pretty sharp. Now the bottom here is actually, I'm gonna make kind of like a sack with these almost like exploding TNT balls that you see me placing here. He has a multitude of these balls that will explode and pretty much kill you. And, you know, he'll stick you with his leg, which you'll see later, and hold you down and blow up, which I kind of like that idea. Start to make the eyes. Now, I'm not the best at eyes, but I do try my best here and pretty happy with how it turns out. We definitely make him look pretty tired with like giant eye bags and lots of creases. And then here we just start to add volume pretty much everywhere in the skull, brow bones. Really like the texture that this brush gives me in ZBrush. And this is just like a lot of kind of redefining the forms here, adding some texture. Now I gave him some ears, but these are kind of more like bat ears where he can hear very well. Now I don't know if creepers have ears because they're square in the game, right? I don't know a lot of lore about the creepers, but I like the idea that they have really good hearing, so they can hear you, and once they hear you, well, they run at you and blow up. Come into the mouth, and we just start making it look a little bit more fleshy. You know, these gums have split open, and we will add more to this later on. Double, triple, quadruple chins. Look at all that fat, the delicious, succulent fat right there. It's so good. Detail on the bottom of the sack here, the explosive sacks. And start adding in these vents here. I like the idea of these like little steam ports, these like fleshy little ports where as he's running at you, ready to blow up, all this kind of like steam releases right before it explodes, making it more cinematic, I guess. And you know, I like the way they look, and so we kind of just build on to that. We start to make the intestines here. I want these intestines to be kind of like, they have folded down, right? They gave way a little bit because Creeper's been through some stuff. And then we make a pretty simplified stomach. I don't make all the organs, you know, maybe I was thinking a lot of his organs, you know, they fell out of him as he was running at somebody, but it didn't blow up. Here we add some more stringy bits to his mouth. And then we go into the fine detail here of the eye, adding in a lot of the fat and the flesh. And this is where it gets really fun, where you can just go in and do a bunch of detail. As you can see, we make the eyes very baggy, gives him that tired look. Here we start to make the leg, because I was not happy with the other legs. It looked too big and gross. So I wanted to give this creeper a bit of an arachnid kind of feeling with these like long, kind of spindly legs, almost like spider legs, a type of insect. I forget which reference I was using, but you know, I'm pretty sure it's spider legs. I wanted to add these spikes onto the leg right here because I thought it looked pretty cool, duplicating all the way down. But in the end, I didn't really end up using these because after we do all the detail, I thought it looked better without the spikes. Then go into some really fine detail here. Trying to make those lines not so straight because there's no straight lines in nature. Bring in the legs, we mirror it, and then put 2 on the front and then 2 on the back. And now look at this gorgeous creature right here, ready to run and explode at people. But we're not done yet because we have to add in the tongue. I took inspiration from one of my favorite Marvel characters, Venom, and decided to go with like a very long, dynamic tongue. I didn't want like a fat tongue flopping out, but I wanted like this Venom lizard tongue just flying out of his mouth as he's maybe running at somebody, drawing a line down the tongue. And honestly, it's just tongue detail. It's pretty easy to do. We'll go into some pretty heavy detail right here, bring in folds and creases and all that just to make it more fleshy and dynamic and kind of just more gross looking. So it reads better when we render it out. Now we start to add in the very, very, very small details of scales all over his body. I was going to go with just pores, but I found this really awesome scale detail that I just put all over his face. Now let's get into the painting. Creepers are green, so we're going to go with this nice green color here. Nothing too bright. Now we do something called the clown technique, where we paint in where the blood would be flowing on the face here, on the cheeks. I forgot to turn on symmetry, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We kind of just put red all over the body, because there is blood flow everywhere, right? Especially on the creeper here, except for the legs. We didn't do the legs, I don't think. We get some blue, put some blue in the eyes here and around the lips, all the way around the lips. And then of course we put blue all over the body as well. Switch to like a really weird yellow, and we put yellow where the bony landmarks would be, or I guess where the skin is thinner and there would be more bone than muscle. But I still wanted the green to show in. Now it's not looking like much right now, but do not worry. We do a little technique where we take the base color that we put on the creeper, bring down the intensity, and then we fill in the whole object until everything kind of blends together. Kind of like that. See how everything's kind of blending together and doesn't look so crazy? What we do is we mask cavity, which is masking all like the small little scales that we did between the scales. Well, we're gonna fill in all those little scaly parts with like kind of like a black, so everything kind of just pops out. These little gummy parts are gonna be red. In here is gonna be kind of a brighter red. There's blood still pumping here, right? And then the gums, of course, are gonna be gum color, and the tongue is gonna be a tongue color. Ignore the little Minecraft there, that was just for fun. Black pupils with red eyes, and they're terrifying, and I really like it. Now to finish it all off, I wanted to make sort of a base, almost like he was popping out of lava. And we painted this really nice orange, added some yellow, and then we're gonna make the middle white, where most of the heat would be. It's supposed to be like he's popping out of this lava pit. We had this really cool detail of a darker orange to really kind of make that lava read a little bit better. And here we have it, the finished rendered creeper inside a Minecraft cave, all delicious looking. That was the Minecraft creeper. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and come check out our art streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on Twitch, where we make creatures and stuff. And as always, I'll see you in the next spooky art video.